I'm just wandering around the Isle of May and it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, he's riding the thermals.
Good morning guys, it's day 2 of my stay in Dunbar and I'm just about to check out of the hostel now, so let's go. I'm on my way to the harbour now. I have to say that was a really lovely place to stay, that was super central, definitely recommend. So I'm on my way to the boat now and then we'll be heading over to the Isle of May to spot some puffins and seals and I'm so excited. Blue World are a nature boat tour company that offers scheduled boat trips as well as private charters. They've got some of the best boats in the area and the crew are all local and extremely knowledgeable. I was lucky enough to hop on board and meet Alan, the owner and captain of the boat.
This castle here, that castle that you see standing up there, dates back to the 1500s.
Wow.
And the castle itself used to be a massive, one of the most impressive in Scotland, coming from over there, right over here. This channel that we're going through was agreed with the fishermen in Victorian times, 1860s, when they agreed that this would be the new channel that they would dynamite out. And this was the first time in Britain that electricity was used to detonate the dynamite. A little bit of a swell just left over from the last couple of days. So you know I was saying about history. This whole area to the left is John Muir Country Park.
Is that North Berwick Law?
Yes, that's correct, yeah. And then, so that way, 30 miles to Edinburgh. That way, 350 miles to Sweden.
Oh wow! You could almost wave.
The wind's blowing this way, so he's doing like an aeroplane. Oh, morning traffic. There we go. He's going to surf and go away now.
Giving us a race.
Yeah, he's riding the thermals, and his wingspan is about 2 meters.
So I'm heading back down here just to hop onto the boat and I'm gonna go down this ladder just over here. He smelt my sandwich.
Fender's okay. Welcome to the boat. System to tell what the vessel is, where it's going to and from.
Nothing to see there, and you go, oh, whoa, walking in history in the footsteps of history. Get out to the Stevenson Lighthouse and you get access come almost, and it's magnificent. It's been inhabited since as early the 6th century. And it's had Viking invasions. There's been a monastery and a priory here. It was a signal station during the World Wars. Shipwrecks right, left and centre. An amazing place for diving around.
Listening out.
May I listen out?
Is it stuck?
No,
It's not going forward.
she's not.
There was a big one caught them as they went in, is geez, you know. And what he's saying is there are more bad waves than good ones. Normally in the harbour there's not much surge, so once you're tied up, you're kind of all right. But so today is marginal. These guys have got in because they've got a lot of experience. But even he's saying,
It is quite relentless and then it just drops you
yeah.
back.
Okay, look it up.
This will get cordoned off height of summer as the terns return, and the terns tend to nest over here.
Ah,
So again, you'll find that the atmosphere changes all the time in the May. Over there, that takes you in to follow these paths that I was saying. So we can look at the map later. Picnic tables, but behind you're seeing the ruins of the priory. And that in itself is fascinating, you know, and that's where come the sort of after the season, it's nice to be able to go in there because of the terns, but the archaeology and the history there, it's a story in itself, you know. And when they were excavating it, they found just some of the skeletons, one with a scallop shell in the mouth. And that's significant of somebody high ranking, quite probably from Spain, somewhere like that. And that's how they used to bury people with a scallop shell in their mouth. So there's lots of wee things like that. And this is the path I would take. Lots of people just go straight up here. It's really annoying now because they put a signpost there. People just used to walk right past it. Great.
take it back.
So now we're coming into real puffin territory.
So are these all puffin nests just here? The little holes?
Yeah. At one point there was almost 70,000 pairs on this island.
Wow.
And that was way back about 2004, 2005. Then there was an incredible drop in seabirds. This island's an island of seabird research, has been for almost 40 years. So the knowledge they have here, and more importantly the history and the continuity of that history, it shows so much. So what happened, it was the food sources. If our populations are crashing, that immediately alerts you to why, what is it. When they did the next count, basically it's down to about 42,000. Well, it was a mix of things, like climatic, overfishing. There also used to be out here an area called the Wee Bankie, and this was where all the sand eels, basically you got a real congregation of sand eels. Danish ships used to come in. Pre-2000 they just hoovered up everything. They were getting larger and larger, the ships, until virtually there was no sand eels left. That's what the puffins eat. That contributed to it. But then throw in climatic issues, and what happened was the sea was warming up, and just even by 0.5 degree made an incredible difference to the timing of everything. So when the plankton was blooming, the young sand eels weren't hatching. So by the time the young sand eels hatched, plankton had bloomed. So nobody kind of thinks about fish starving.
Yeah.
These things happen. So it was an accumulative story that was ongoing, but it took a while for people to find out. It was also in the winter months. Food sources weren't there in the winter months. So when the birds are free, they're not breeding, they don't have a chick to rear, they should be able to go anywhere and find food. But the food areas that they went to, these had just weren't productive. So again, they have to adjust. So it was just layer upon layer upon layer. And this is what they do research into here.
Right.
Then you get these incredible seabird wrecks that can just be caused by storms, if they're molting, if there's no food. And this island is a flagship for what we find out about seabirds. So it really is a very important place, which is good. It's really muddy.
I guess it helps to keep people in the right place as well.
It does, because it really is so fragile. I made a vow to myself then, if I don't need to go off path, I won't. Or I know where I can walk where the ground's solid.
Yeah.
But for certain areas where it's just so fragile, I don't need to go there. There's plenty of places on the island that are beautiful anyway. It's just trying to get... You hear that? That's the underground. You'll see the vegetation change over the season as well. So in a few months' time, you'll come back here and you'll start to get more further along nettles, and that brings the butterflies. So you know, it just the whole habitat changes and things. But if you get a drought, that's the fear, because then the ground is even more prone to what's the word of it?
Erosion.
Thank you. So this is quite a nice bit, but you also get gulls nesting here. And you do get the odd predatory gull, so it tends to be lesser blackbacks down this area usually. So yeah, the puffins have to run the gauntlet at times with the gulls. Listen, this is what it was like when the monks walked here. They walked from the priory to Alderstaines, maybe for the ship. So this is Holyman Road, the silence. And the island, they think may have come from the Icelandic for Mayor, meaning Gull Island. And gulls do come in, but at the moment, not quite yet. You suddenly come up on this, welcome to the Bird Observatory. It goes way back to Victorian times. There's two ladies, Mistress Rintoul and Mistress Baxter, who used to come to me, passionate birders. And it was still in the era of when you kind of go, I see, what's that? The gun would come up, blast it out the sky, and they go, oh, we'll just kill the last one of that then, eh? So, but they were slightly wiser. And they said that the Isle of May, that they noticed that when it was an easterly wind, you would get migrants coming through. And the men went, well, they were absolutely right. What do you expect? Of course they were right. And that didn't get officially recognised until the 1950s, although by then the men knew, or the ornithological world knew, that if you got an easterly wind here, it brought good migrants in. Now these little birds, as I call leaf flappy ones, migrate from, when they're coming across from Norway, Sweden, wherever, and they fly all across the sea, and this is maybe their first port of land. And there they are, they've got somewhere to shelter, they've got warmth, they've got a good food source because of the habitat here, the insects. And the Bird Observatory, which didn't used to be there but has been based on the island since 1935, put mist nets up, and that's where they trap the birds. They then ring them, they weigh them, they identify them, and every single bird that is caught, and has been since 1935, there's a record for on this island.
Wow.
So that is fascinating. But what it also shows is at times just how we are seeing different species now, and the loss of certain species. So species maybe move northwards now or get blown off course or something. So ringing, which is, you'll look out for these, you'll see them on shags, and then some of the wee tiny birds, they'll have the wee tiny metal rings on, has a unique number on it. So if you ever find a bird in the ground and you see a ring on it, take the ring number, put it into the British Trust for Ornithology ringing, and you'll get the history of a bird.
Wow.
You get that back. And there was a bird found just recently, it was somewhere, and then it was in the Farne Islands. Anyway, they've established it's 38 years old, and it was dead. It was a guillemot, 38 years old. So
wow.
and it had bred, it had come back to the May, It bred here, and it had 3 different sites, and then laterally it didn't produce young, and that's an indication that the bird was probably getting older. So that's just from that little ring,
So
that
fascinating.
history you're getting, and also from the observations that the people make here. And they added an extension on the back, and it's fabulous because it used to be, it was sort of an outside loo, but it's now got 3 nice sort of double rooms and then bunk rooms, and it's even got a shower, but everybody frowns. It's quite interesting because I think there's a generational thing where when you go there, everyone's like, oh, I think you shower, do you shower? We're like, oh, you can't have a shower, you're using water, because water is precious on the island. And if you have so many people using water every day, you know, it'll go. Because, you know, you don't flush the loos because you have to preserve water. So it makes you much more aware of what you use in water. I'm much more thankful, I think, when you get back to the mainland and you go, how lucky are we? You know?
Yeah.
And then you think of the world as it is and places, and they'd give their right arm for just half a cup of fresh water, you know. So this is the low light, and this was built in 1844.
They actually get halfway up it.
Really climb up hills, yeah.
The seals can come up.
If it's high tides and stormy, they'll just go to other places. But you will see them. That's a resident population of about 300 or 400. So they do haul out. This is a Heligoland trap. We can carefully walk here. This used to be the garden for lighthouse keepers. This is important. You see the wee box at the end here? This vegetation is beginning to flourish already. It'll be quite dense come the summer. And by September, when the migrants come through again, they've got shelter, they've got food, they've got protection. And in here, the bird ringers from the observatory will come through. Every so often they'll set the trap, which sounds quite dreadful. It's just a box, and the birds will get funnelled in here and tunnelled into there, where they get caught in this wee box.
Oh.
They're taken out very quickly, and that's when they're processed, so say weighed, identified, everything's recorded. So they're called Heligoland traps, and there's 4 of these on the island.
Oh, okay.
So it's really, they won't have them working when visitors are in. It's just such an important part of the island. This is what it's about.
Is that when they tag them? So they'll...
Yeah, they'll take them down to the ringing hut usually. In here, the back house. If you want to have a quick run in and have a look.
Oh, wow.
They're both leaving today. So there's just the Bird Observatory for a couple of days, like it used to be.
So I'm just wandering around the Isle of May and it's absolutely incredible. There's puffins everywhere. I'm just following this pipe because you have to be really careful not to step off the path just because there's puffin nests. And the ground is so soft and easily eroded, so you don't want to disturb anything. So yeah, following this, and I'm gonna go film some puffins.
big one.
That's-
Big one.
Another big one behind
I
it.
think so. There's another big one, real big one coming, real big one coming. So I think we're okay. There's another big one coming, we'll go after that.